Hello, everybody. I am your host, Brendan. Welcome to Swing Batter, where we talk about the events nobody else wants to talk about because they're secret. And nobody wants to admit the truth about their own team. Joined today are my favorite people. Dad, how are you doing today?
Oh, Brendan, I like that introduction because that was on my mind. What we're being told by the teams about the upcoming season.
Wow.
Every team is saying either they're going to win it or they're going to say, we're going to be greatly improved, which is code what we're still going to lose, but we'll lose better than last year. No one is saying the truth about their team.
It was better than last year. You thought my first divorce was bad. The second one gets even better. All right, Todd. Welcome to the podcast, Swing Batter. How are you doing tonight?
I'm fantastic. You want to know why?
I would love to know why.
As of today, it's been 56 months and 27 days since Lenny Dykstra's been arrested. So all props to Lenny.
Yeah. Good on you, Lenny, for outracing the police.
And by the way, that's his own stat. I'm not like putting something out there that he didn't put out on Twitter already. So as of this recording, that's the stat.
Well, you know what? I do admire a man's willingness to tell us where he's at. It's good to know. Gross. Does he have a coin with him? Does he have like one of those coins like I've been sober for so long?
He might. He absolutely might. Yeah.
Be a great coin. But we're gonna start this podcast off and because Todd has some player who's near and dear to his heart. He's near and dear to all of our hearts, especially now that he's with our team that's going to lose worse than they did before. Texas Rangers signed him, and we had a little cold front come through during the start of spring training. And for those who aren't in Arizona, a cold front means we got a high of like 65, 68, 63 degrees. It was really chilly out here, so all the pitchers and catchers came out, and one pitcher already got shut down. Todd, do you want to break this down for us? Because I know you're used to it.
Who might it be? Who was so fragile that he had a stitch in his side at 65 degrees because it was so cold? Texas Rangers? Is that something I hear in the distance? Is it the call of Jacob deGrom? It might be. Opening day is in jeopardy. We have to rest him for 2 days because he's got a stitch in his side. I noticed Justin Verlander was out there pitching in Port St. Lucie, throwing off the mound with his buddy Max Scherzer. Where was Jacob? Probably had to make another appearance at a Wegmans in Dallas, and so he had to fly out of Arizona so he could appear next to the cream corn in the grocery aisle to sign autographs for Cowboys fans who had nowhere to go during spring training. Jacob deGrom, I hope you're counting all 185 million of those dollars because that creamed corn aisle is the closest you're going to get to a winning season in Texas, baby. Let's hear it for a winning culture. Hip, hip, hooray! Hip, hip, hooray!
I think Jacob is probably the best unknown pitcher in his own state. Like the fact that he was at a grocery store. Like, can you imagine? When they said he was going to be at a outing at a grocery store, when he signed that deal, he forgot to put in there, I'm not going to do team events at a grocery store.
Oh,
Because he didn't think it was possible. Because if he was a Met or a Yankee, they would not even have to do. You couldn't do that. It would shut down the entire block. The fans would be out there. Dallas was probably like, I got to get my Super Bowl food. Why are you here? Why are you interrupting? Who is this guy? What is
the only thing he could do that would be more embarrassing is if he had to do a commercial for a New York bagel place in Dallas and had to actually pretend that they were real New York bagels. That would be
just fantastic.
Just like I came from New York, we have real New York bagels here in downtown Irvine.
Can he say things like, I bring the same quality, the same taste, and the same lack of innings pitched? Can he say all of that?
Oh my gosh, Texas Rangers, you poor.
I mean, the good news is they only signed him for 1 year. No, 2, no, 3, no. I believe it was 5. I believe they get this for 5 years.
5 years. Can you imagine Steve Cohen reading that tweet?
Oh, he was probably in a bathtub popping champagne, bubbly going out of the tub. He probably yelled at his late
Honey,
mate.
get me some more beef jerky.
No,
Cohen's dead.
it was
Cohen-
caveat.
Cohen's in the house. DeGrom's down again.
I had him under 75 innings. This is not looking good, folks. If you're going to be cold in Arizona.
Holy cow.
Well, the good news is that he's on a winner. So, and like good winning organizations, they're prepared for these kind of things. And the nice thing about it is they have 4 other pitchers that they signed that are ready to step up this season. And the nice thing is when one of them goes down, the next one will go down right after him, over and over like a bunch of dominoes. And that is going to be our crackerjack, our most crackerjack giving party that we will have is to Texas. In fact, we should probably do an entire crackerjack segment just for those players who are going to be on the bench. We should have their name, their logo, nice box for them that we're going to eat. Dad, you can eat with your other snacks.
Yeah, my little finger snapper. I think I was thinking about how we were so down in the Rangers. So I said, there's got to be something good here. And I thought about it and I said, we're forgetting. Rangers made a great improvement in the middle of last year when they traded Joey Gallo. That is worth some points, and so his being gone makes them a better team. I thought about that. That is a definite improvement.
What are the chances that Joey Gallo gets traded to a playoff contender in the middle of the season? Because we all know the Twins are not going to be that.
I think Joey Gallo's batting average is lower than Al Weis.
If you remember Al Weis from the rounding third version of the podcast earlier.
Can you imagine if Joey Gallo actually played well for the Twins and was actually a trade bait? That would be fantastic. I think he has a better chance of being let go and someone picks him up for minor league money because the Twins also had a great offseason. Fantastic. Good on you, Twins, for signing Joey Gallo. I'm sure he's going to bring the dugout up with all of his free air conditioning in Minnesota.
Hey, props to at NYM Three Stooges, New York Mets Three Stooges. He put a picture up of deGrom talking to Greg Maddux in Texas, and he said Greg Maddux. It was actually a retweet from the baseballer at the BSBLR saying Greg Maddux talking to deGrom about how they're going to pitch the same number of innings this season.
But enough about those people who are going to let us down. Let's talk about the people who have high hopes. And there are high hopes this brought to you by the offseason. We had a lot of massive signings. And for those players that can opt out of contracts, we have some good news and some really good news. I don't think we have any bad news for people who want to opt out of contracts. It's a great time to do it. I would say keep it up. But we have our Colorado Rockies GM who called it, who said the Padres are in a world of hurt in the future. Not mentioning the Colorado Rockies are in a world of hurt both today and the future. But Manny Machado has already announced that he is going to opt out for his final deal in baseball, I would say. This is a pretty big development. He's in that ripe age that you can get a massive deal. What say you, Dad?
Oh, everybody should opt out. I mean, they're giving money away like the government. I mean, everybody gets a check. Why wouldn't you opt out unless you're crippled and you're never going to play again and no one's going to pay you? But otherwise, opt out.
The good news is Dad's not an agent, but he just sounded like one. So, I mean, I know they get paid a lot of money to help their players out. Is that how the phone calls goes? Like, if I'm calling you as I'm the player and you're my agent, Dad, am I like, yeah, what do you think we should do next year? I have that player contract opt-out option. What are your thoughts? And your advice is basically, bye.
I think we got a $300 million contract with free food from Wegmans.
Well, he's got $30 million a year for the next 5 years on the current contract.
Oh, dear God.
And Apparently he wants 10 years, $400 million.
What's his age?
Machado currently he's 30 years old.
Okay, so he's right. He'll get a 10-year deal, and he'll probably get, I don't know if he'll get that, but he'll definitely, yeah. Yeah, I think it's a brilliant idea. Now, here's the Giants could disappoint again next year. We're going to get him. Oh, we didn't get him.
So you're getting a third baseman for $40 million a year for 10 years.
Mm-hmm. Do you know who's paying over $40 million for the third base position right now?
Oh, yeah.
That team?
Yeah. Colorado, you might as well go all in and go for a clean, $90 million at the hot corner?
Chris Bryant.
They get Machado at $40 million a year. They'll have $90 million a year just dedicated to the hot corner between Arenado and Chris Bryant and Manny Machado.
Hold on. Wait, I have a better idea. What are we talking about? They don't need to keep Chris Bryant. They can trade him to another team, pay half his salary, then sign Manny Machado.
Right, because when you retain the salary, it's not real.
No, fake money.
That's the brilliant GM of the Colorado Rockies. This is the way he thinks. If I'm retaining the salary, it's not as real as when the Padres are paying players who actually play for the team.
It's not on his KPIs. So, like, the retained salary is not part of his, like, metric to, like, when he talks to the owner, he's like, that doesn't count against my performance.
I think, knowing what you guys just told me about Colorado Rockies and third base, they should paint their third base gold. White bases except third will be painted gold.
I like that. I think that's a good idea. Maybe make them slip rounding third more often. The gold third base, where all your money's going, because we sure as heck know it's not going to the pitchers.
So, Bleacher Report says that the Padres and Manny Machado's are pretty close. Yeah, on their extension talks. They're pretty close. They're almost there, Dad. What do you think they are?
I don't know. It's hard for me to figure this out because when he says he's opting out, well, people lie all the time. Maybe that they'll sign something tomorrow. What are they? $50 million apart?
About $145 million apart.
That might not be done tomorrow.
But his current deal is 5 years for $150 million. Okay? So let's say if they're $145 million apart, that means the Padres they want 10 years at $255 million. So they want to actually reduce what he's getting paid per year.
Now that's not going to fly.
I got to be honest with you. I got to be honest. Like, what's another $15 million a year?
Hold on. Let's talk about the Padres.
It's inflation. He's got a family to feed.
The Padres just signed Darvish till he's 42.
Correct.
The Padres just signed Xander Bogaerts from the Boston Red Sox. So they just signed him to a nice, huge deal. I believe that was his 10-year deal.
Yeah, it was a 10-year, like 300 something, right?
Juan Soto is going to be on the market next year.
He'll make $500 million.
Manny Machado is going to be on the market next year. What is Tatis currently getting?
Tatis was 10 years at 330, 336 or something like that. If memory serves.
14 years, $340 million.
Oh,
Tatis.
So his per year average is not even as high.
No, and I don't think he has a player clause to get out of this one. But he got $340 million and he felt fantastic. However, I mean, he's average salary of under $25 million. So they got Tatis locked up, they got Bogaerts locked up, they got Darvish locked up. Soto and Machado, they could lose both of those.
The Padres could be the FTX of baseball teams.
You're not. I mean, this is the year. I mean, this is the year that you're talking about the Padres trying. They're all in because you got Juan Soto who wants to have a career year to earn all the money in the world. Manny Machado wants to earn all the money in the world. And if you are not having that year, you can trade a Manny Machado to somebody knowing he's going to opt out to get a bunch of minor leaguers. The same with Juan Soto. So the Padres, if they are not playing well, like let's just say the Diamondbacks surprise the Padres. Let's say it's the Dodgers, Diamondbacks are 1-2. The Giants and Padres are underperforming. The Padres can clean house and get a lot of minor league talent with those two players.
Or they trade them all for Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani, as we've proposed previously.
Yes,
Wouldn't that be fantastic if they turned around and traded Soto, Machado, Tatis?
The only reason why I don't think they're going to do that is their GM is not as creative as the Mets GM, who used to work for the Angels, so therefore he knows that team very well. He knows what deals they will and will not take. I'm sure the Colorado can be involved some way in paying people to pay the salaries and not trade a player, just like pick up salaries. We'll take half a Trout's salary while he goes to the Mets, for instance, or goes to the Padres, and then we'll pay part of Machado's salary when he goes to the Giants, and the Rockies give him.
You know, the guy, this Juan Soto is really, I'm very interested in him. Todd, a couple years ago, you and I watched him play a game against the Mets. Yeah. And I said, this guy's going to be better than Willie Mays. He was like 21 or 22 years old, and he hit everything. And then he turned down some ridiculous amount. What did he turn down, $400 million or something?
$400 million. It was a 10-year, $400 million contract.
He turned it down, and since then, he's not been able to get his average over 250. He's not. The last couple years for him have been huge disappointments. So I'm really interested to see if he just didn't try, if he has health problems. This year's his year, right?
Yep.
Going to be a free agent?
Has to be.
It'll be interesting to see what he hits this year. Same with Machado. So they got two guys there who are highly motivated to put up some numbers.
Oh, and I'll be reporting live from the San Diego Spring Training Facility. It's a very near and dear to my heart. So I look forward to checking out on the Padres this year. And to your point, that they are all in this year. They really are. Their offense. I mean, the Padres are one of those teams. The Padres, the Mets, the Yankees. These teams have to win it all. They have put all their chips in. And they're all going for it all. Texas just wants to have like 75 wins. But they did play a lot of chips to try to get to 75 wins.
Oh, I think they fully expect more than 90. I think that they expect more than 90.
Texas?
The Rangers?
Yeah.
Well, they're the only ones.
Yeah. But I think they expect that.
That's a lot of crack to smoke.
Well, the good news is there's no one else in Texas expecting much other than when do the Cowboys start again.
Yeah.
So, well, that's one.
I just can't imagine being $145 million off.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? You have two proposals, right? You come to the table, one person slides an envelope across, the other person slides their envelope across. You open the envelope at the same time and you both look at it. And you're so far apart. You're so far apart that you could buy so many things. Like the gap between what the Padres want and what Machado is expecting is bigger than most contracts in baseball.
There's only one Manny Machado. There's lots of baseball teams.
You mean contracts for the whole team?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know who's. I mean, am I looking now? There's okay. So what are they? There are teams 17 through 30 have payrolls below 145 million, and that's the difference between the Padres and Machado right now.
Yeah, but over the course of 10 years, that's $14 million. So I mean,
so you back in the deal?
I mean, he could be the Las Vegas A's biggest signing this offseason.
You're the Padres GM. How do you get Machado to the table? How do you fix the Machado thing at $145 million deal?
It's going to be hard when you gave Bogarts the money you gave him, and you gave Machado that deal, and you gave him a player op. You had to know that this was coming when you gave him this contract.
Ooh.
I mean, the money's not going down. It wasn't like baseball in 5 years from today it's going to go down. The reason we exist is that baseball is getting more ludicrous as it goes on. I mean, these contracts are getting crazier. Heck, what was his, the individual who signed for the Pirates again? McCutchen. McCutchen signed again. McCutchen is 36 years old. One would easily argue he's past his prime. He got a $5 million deal to come back to the Pirates, and they're all excited because he's coming back to finish what he started or come back to the team he once played for. The Pirates are literally signing a bunch of aged people in the hopes that they do something for them other than bring back some nice thoughts of back in the day when he used to play center field and was amazing in his 20s, late 20s, early 30s.
You asked what the Padres can do with Machado. They can't do anything. There's nothing they can offer him that will make him not want to opt out unless it's own the team. I mean, he's going to see what it's like. And if they want him, they'll have to be a bidder at the end of the year. Otherwise, he'll go where the money is.
So the owner of the Padres is a private equity guy that has a net worth of $3 billion. So he and Papa Cohen are kind of in the same ballpark, right? He purchased the Padres in 2012 for $800 million. Machado is asking for a contract that's half of what he paid for the whole team 9 years ago. Process, that makes no sense to me. Unless the Padres were really worthless.
May have been.
At that time.
But
that's fantastic.
So if you're looking at the value of a club and who's the best and who's the worst, the Padres are valued at $1.6 billion as of 2022. The Yankees are valued at $6 billion. Dodgers are next for some reason per this wonderful stats I'm pulling up of prices of major league franchises. Cubs are up there, Giants are up there, Mets are up there. I can only see this getting better in 2023. So these are in the billions. So if he spent $800 million in 10 years and they're 1.5, I would say with all the money he spent, they're certainly going up. They're certainly getting on the top echelon.
What are the Pirates worth?
$1.3 billion.
Well, let's do it.
Miami Marlins are the best deal in town. Under $1 billion. $990 million.
Boy, Jeter really messed that one up, right?
And if Jeter can't make it go,
it's hard.
We could make Pittsburgh work.
Yep, certainly could. So that's
just so need 10 more subscribers,
right?
Yeah,
you could be the one. So
10 more. That's it, everybody. So this offseason, and the teams that are, again, going back to the teams that are lying about themselves or saying, we always harp on the Rangers and what have you. I think the teams that are certainly overjoyed coming into the season based on last year, one of the teams that I do agree with a lot with your dad is the White Sox. I think the White Sox are very excited about this upcoming season. They have a lot of talent. They got rid of their manager, who was certainly beyond his age, beyond his depth, if you will. So I look forward to the White Sox season and battling out with the Cleveland Guardians. The other team that I think is really looking forward to the start of a fresh new year is the Toronto Blue Jays. They have a lot of talent. They've signed a lot of good players, and they are hoping to break that wild card. That division is brutal. Just brutal. I mean, the Yankees are completely loaded and ready to rock and roll. You have Toronto. I mean, I think the Rays are going to definitely have it step back. I think Boston is going to be miserable. Just miserable.
No, you can't talk about Boston for a year. I was told this by people in Boston.
I wouldn't want to talk about them at all. You're right. And the Orioles are on the up and up. This is a surprising development because Boston spent more money than them by a far mile, and they just got a bunch of old folks. Boston is one of those teams that's lying to everybody. hey, we got all these family names or names that you know, but the reason you know them is they should be leaving baseball. I also think...
Speaking of lying, we all know that the crime dog Fred McGriff and Scott Rolen are in the Hall of Fame, apparently, right?
Correct.
So I'm going to give you guys a chance to throw in your votes as to which team you think these guys are going in the Hall of Fame as.
I can tell you how they should be.
Tell us how they should be.
Rolen should be St. Louis, and Fred McGriff should be the Braves.
I could see Rolen going in as a Philly because he started there, but I do agree with Dad that both of those teams make the most sense. He played his most memorable time with the Cardinals, but I think how many years did he play on each of those teams, Scott?
Scott Rolen played 7 years on the Phillies, and he played 6 years on the Cardinals. He won most of his Gold Gloves with the Phillies.
Oh.
And he was given a lot of credit for playing the hot corner with the Phillies because of the turf there and how fast those balls were coming in. So I'll just put that out there.
That was with the AstroTurf, right?
Yes.
For those that don't remember, I mean, the new Philly Stadium is not like the stadium of olden days.
But he did win his World Series with St. Louis.
True. I'm guessing his performance in the World Series was not as memorable.
So, Scott Rolen is going into the Hall of Fame as a St. Louis Cardinal, which, to be totally honest with you, I think speaks more to the fact that this whole thing is a joke. If you're going to go and put this guy in based on the fact that his defense was so good, why is he not going in as a Philly? Because to quote Scott Rolen, the St. Louis Cardinals represents a pivotal moment in my career. I don't know what that means. So
yeah, 'cause he did finish it out in Toronto and then Cincinnati, which were, I mean, you could argue because of the World Series. I mean, he had a heck of a World Series. His World Series stats are fantastic when they beat Detroit.
Yep.
I mean, he batted .421.
Man, I would hate to be Rolen going to visit Philadelphia for the rest of my life.
I don't think he ever visits. I think he went to St. Louis and fell in love and felt a lot more appreciative, and that's why he chose them. Who is Fred going?
Griff is going in blank.
I mean blank.
Blank. No, he goes, 15 of my 19 Major League seasons were split, playing half a decade with the Blue Jays, Braves, and Devil Rays. At each stop, I was lucky to be a part of memorable teams and to play in front of some of the best fans in baseball. And discussing my career with the Hall of Fame, we decided with no logo on my plaque, I can equally represent those cities and the incredible fans in Toronto, where I got my start, Atlanta, where we won the World Series, and my hometown of Tampa Bay, as well as my time in San Diego. So the crime dog Fred McGriff manages to offend every single team he played for.
Oh, I think the opposite. I think he's trying to get everyone to like him. I think he wants to be commissioner of baseball.
That might not be a bad idea.
He praises everywhere.
Can you imagine if the commissioner was known as the crime dog?
Be pretty good.
That's this commissioner of baseball.
So with these guys playing for so many different teams, like, is that just like, so that player gets to make the ultimate choice, correct? He gets to decide what team he goes in as?
Right.
Yes.
There's no, like, pressure. Oh, God only knows what the writer...
Well, I'm sure there's lobbying pressure. Gosh, you tell me the Phillies didn't call Rolen and tell him they wanted him to go in as a Philly?
Wasn't there a controversy with Randy Johnson? What did Randy Johnson ultimately go in as?
I think he went in as a Diamondback.
Right, but there were talk with him as Seattle, and then they said the Diamondbacks make the most sense because he won the World Series there.
Well, also his Cy Youngs.
Oh, he was unbelievable. He was unbelievable with both teams. I just remember that was some questions. Because he did. Well, he had such a long career too, but he was with Seattle for quite a while.
Yeah,
and he also pitched fantastic for them too.
Gary Carter went in as a Montreal Expo, even though he won the World Series as a Met.
I thought he went. It's something I didn't know. I thought he went in as a Met. No.
Yeah, because I remember that being a little bit controversial when that happened. So
yeah, you could have easily argued Randy Johnson to go in as Seattle because that was where he spent the most of his time. Why do they have to? Why can't they go in with all the teams that they played for? Like, kind of have a jersey and a team. Why does it have to be?
No.
Is it because
when they do the plaque, the cap that they're wearing in the plaque can represent a team. So
right, okay, but a blank cap just seems odd. What does it just have, the MLB logo?
It might just have the Hall of Fame logo on it.
Then why don't they just do that for all these players the way that it's going? Unless it's like Mariano Rivera, that's an easy one. When they play for one team, it's a no-brainer. When they play for several teams, why don't they just have the Hall of Fame logo? Just a thought. I'm sure they'll get it wrong. We know how they vote, so
it's up to the player.
Not a whole lot of hope. Not a whole lot of hope into the future. There is one thing that is true, though, for all those kids out there that are battling in the minor leagues, or if you're a massive talent when it comes to baseball, the good news is the salaries are going up. They're not going down. There's not going to be a backwards trend, if you will, for MLB salaries. The other update, Dad, I know you're always interested in this. I have not heard or read anything about Trevor Bauer getting sniffed out anywhere. I still agree with you. And, I think if I was the team that we tend to like a little bit here, I like the idea of the Cubs grabbing him. Talking about a lot of players with single-year contracts, rebuilding themselves, so on and so forth. The Cubs fans love their Cubs, and they would easily forgive a Trevor Bauer.
I think the fear is that the fans would there'd be so much negative reaction from the fans. But truthfully, baseball teams don't make money from the fans anymore. They make them from TV. So
yeah,
I think what happened is whoever signs him is not going to tell anyone they signed him. There's not going to be any fanfare. He's just going to get called into a game one day, and he's going to have a number like 87. Well, I don't know, who's this 87 guy?
If you look at a team like the Cubs with a lot of hope and you sign him, it's going to only bring them a lot of more hope. I mean, they have hope in their team and things of that nature. You're going to look at the past. No, they're just going to keep moving forward.
Once he pitches a good game, fans will cheer for Charles Manson if you want a game for him. I mean, that's just about winning.
I'm going to be honest with you. I think the Yankees sign him.
I think that's the worst place for him to go because of the media. I don't
think he cares. I don't think the Yankees care. But that rotation with Garrett Cole,
then you're talking about it.
And then Trevor Bauer, that's a Subway Series right there. That's the biggest. Those are the two biggest teams in baseball, right?
Then you have another pitcher in the top 10 for Cy Young who's with the Yankees.
Yep. You have three legitimate Cy Young contenders in the lineup for the Yankees. That is a nasty, in so many different ways, pitching rotation.
I do like, if you're going to, I think if the Yankees would be harsher. I think the Mets is actually easier, and I think Cohen's the right guy to do it because he's like, hey, I'm new. This is my team. This is the guy.
I don't think they want the drama, honestly. Right. I think the whole Correa thing, they were willing to let Correa go and not deal with that drama. I think the Mets legitimately just don't want that level of drama. I think the Yankees just have a starter go down in spring training, Montero or something like that. I feel like something just happened with him. And I don't know. I don't know.
He could go to a place where the fans don't care about the baseball team. He could sign with Miami and no one would know. Yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
Or Tampa. Tampa, again, it wouldn't be a known commodity.
But he's not going to sign for nothing. So That's a problem, is price.
Yeah. It's going to be $750, you know? Yeah. I think I think the Yankees are the...
I think it'll be interesting whoever gets him. I mean, even if you're not in contention, just getting him. But he's going to go to a place he wants to go to a place to reprove his image. So he wants to compete. So he's not going to sign with like the Rockies, for instance. He's not signing with the, I think Seattle would be a great signing for him. So we'll see. We'll see who gets him. What GM is going to take a bite of the apple, because the apple is dangling. It's right there. And it's right there for somebody who's looking at it. And to your point, Todd, all it takes is one pitcher to go down, and for that GM to feel the pressure. You lose 2 starting pitchers in the preseason. You lose somebody to something bad. Trevor's sitting right there, and there is no pitcher like him sitting right there.
How long until Texas makes the call?
Todd, your brain is with mine. Who do we know that's going to lose a top-end pitcher and might be looking?
Okay, and just like at like you go into sheer like so you're the GM, your job's on the line, and you just go into Captain Insano mode, and you're just like, it doesn't even matter. You're like, if I'm gonna get fired anyway,
right,
I might as well just sign the guy.
Yep. No, I mean, this will be interesting because, again, we're barely getting going. Games are just going to start here at the end of this week. Once games start, you'll start to see people get put on the sideline, iced up, figured out. We're going to have a fun time here, and this is going to be musical chairs. We'll see how they all turn out. We know for certain that there are teams that are already out. Have we already called it for Oakland and Colorado? Are those our first 2 teams that are not making the playoffs? Are we?
No, not on Colorado. I want to let Colorado like trickle on it, so Mr. Schmidt can get his money's worth over there since he's such a good man with the budget.
Or should we wait for the first official spring training game before we say this team has officially been ousted from the playoffs?
No, I think the Nationals already like threw up the white towel when their starter got injured already in spring training.
So the Nationals and Oakland, we can call it. Are those the 2 teams? Should we have a set ceremony for that?
Who are you talking about, Todd? Strasburg?
Yeah, Strasburg got injured.
Yeah.
In spring training. So yeah, in shocking news for no one. Right?
Oh, geez. What's his deal? Same old, same old?
He hasn't even pitched since the World Series, has he?
Trying to figure out what it was that he got knocked out for something.
Oh my Lord! He signed a 7-year, $245 million deal, and when he signed that deal, it was in. Yeah, he hasn't pitched since 2019.
He didn't even show up. He didn't even show up for pitchers and catchers this year.
He's pitched.
He had a recent setback from the operation to correct his thoracic outlet syndrome.
Oh, Lord. His innings pitched is 5.21 2/3 and 4 2/3 in the last 3 years, and they signed him for 7, folks.
Ugh.
This deal is not good. They have him locked in till 2026.
31 1/3 innings across 8 starts over the past 3 seasons. He had carpal tunnel surgery, then this thoracic outlet syndrome in 2021.
Well,
now he didn't even show up for pitchers and catchers.
We found our guy who's not opting out.
Yeah.
They still have Patrick Corbin for the next.
He's going to win the Jimmy Carter Award for baseball.
Oof.
Too soon?
Too soon. Patrick Corbin is still pitching. He has him for 2 more years, and I think they're going to let him go after during this season because he's been so poor.
But he's throwing the ball.
No, you're right, but he's
an inning biter.
Okay, so here's how many games he started. You tell me how many innings you think he got through. He started 31 games last year.
Corbin?
31.
Corbin?
Corbin pitched in 31 starts last year. Pitched the whole season. He pitched
120 innings.
Ooh. I was going to guess 150.
He is 152 2/3.
Okay.
He was 6 19. 6.31 ERA, 1.7 WHIP.
Jeez.
This is just this is bad, folks.
That's if Oscar the Grouch decided to jump in a dumpster, light himself on fire, and then take a train and wreck it.
The good news is he's going to get $50 million, 25 this year, 25 next year, folks. So whatever you're doing for your job, not only can you not suck like Patrick Corbin, you'll not get paid like Patrick Corbin either for doing a great job.
Man.
He takes the ball every time and he gives it his best try.
Steven Strasburg is like the guy who got CEO pay and then automatically went out on mental disability, saying he can't take the stress of the job.
He got the World Series ring. He got the ring. Patrick Corbin got the ring, and they haven't been the same since. One could argue, that Juan Soto deal, that's pretty amazing, Dad, the stats. You're not wrong about that. When he denied that stat, he's been trying to earn his dollar every single time. Do you think he went to some psychologist? Like he went to Dr. Phil or somebody?
Like he needs to.
Just to say, you need to not think about a contract. You need to not think about a contract year. You need to not think about any of this. Get it out of your head and just go up there and mash. You need to mash. And Manny's going to say, this is how it's done. Manny's going to compete with Juan Soto for dollars. This is going to be a great competition for the Padres. You know that shirt that says team before me? Not for those two. It's going to be me before team. You got two runners on. You want to move them over? No, sirree, Bob. I am going for you. I'm going for RBIs. This is going to be a fantastic Padres season. There's going to be a lot of me before team on that team.
A lot of me and no we.
And that we'll see. That team has the breakability. They have the I'm in it for me kind of mentality. And Darvish signed in a deal. Usually when you sign a deal that could go down, that could not go very good. We'll see. We'll see. Padres are on the clock there. There's someone to watch. That could be the Titanic. They could have already hit their iceberg.
Man, this is a great episode.
Yep.
I got to tell you, this is like we've talked about some real absolute just losers.
Is Celine Dion going to close us out for the Padres?
Far across the distance.
Are the Padres? No, what it should do is we should have a scene from the movie where it's Juan Soto and Manny Machado fighting over the piece of wood floating. And whoever gets to stay on it gets plucked alive. The other one is frozen and gets let out in the ocean because they have to sign like a 1-year deal because it didn't play good. And the other player gets $400 million and he's like, yes, I got rescued.
And Mike Schmidt from the Colorado Rockies is the guy frozen in the water trying to blow the whistle.
Yeah. He's like, the Padres have a problem. There you go, folks. If you haven't watched that,
God.
I don't know where you've been. But yes, the Padres, we're calling it. The Padres are out of destiny. They're all excited. They loaded up the boat. This ship is going to destiny. And it's going to go to destiny.
Yep.
But that'd be the destiny you're thinking of. All right, folks. That's our current events. We look forward to our next one. Spring training gets going, which means it's only going to get better from here, everybody. As you well know, Florida and Arizona is where you need to be. This is the time of the year to go travel. Enjoy the spring training festivities. Dad, final thoughts?
Final thoughts is games are starting. That'll be fun. When we start the games, then the injury list will start. So we watch people just start dropping. That'll be very interesting.
Todd?
Hey, just be careful, guys. When you're walking through that grocery store, the guy next to you could be getting paid over $185 million over the life of his contract.
You may want to say hi. Say, who are you?
Jacob, can I get some of that cream corn? I'm not tall enough.
Excuse me, young man. Young man, can you reach the top of the shelf for me?
It will never not be funny.
Do you want me to sign that? No.
Here's a quarter so your kid can play the claw machine over while you're finishing your self-checkout.
So fantastic. Oh, that store, good old Jacob. All right, everybody. I am your host, Brendan. Thank you so much for joining us, and we are out. We'll see you next time.
Peace.